Can you afford to ignore losses? Imagine you're at a cheese plant and you're watching the production line when suddenly one of the workers picks up a perfectly good cheese and throws it in the garbage. You watch for a while and you notice it happens again and again. This would be a huge problem, and of course no one's physically going to be throwing cheeses in the garbage. In reality, a lot of factories are throwing away valuable product and profits because they're losing significant amounts of suspended solids down the drain, as much as 5% or even more. In dairy operations, those solids aren't necessarily a byproduct. They're essentially the actual product, so it could be the equivalent of throwing away one cheese in every 20. Of course, most plants are calculating and monitoring theoretical yields based on incoming milk against outgoing product. But how do you identify the opportunities for improvement? Where and when are losses happening? What's the magnitude of them? And how will you know how much to invest against a particular opportunity? Well, the good news is that these opportunities can be identified through loss reduction systems. And Quadbeam Technology's multibeam suspended solid sensor is a tool that can help make this happen. A lot of plants just aren't aware of the big gains that they could get from loss reduction. But that means there's a big opportunity for anybody that wants to go down this path. We're seeing an increased number of inquiries and number of plants identifying the potential for loss monitoring. They're looking at minimizing interruptions or identifying non-compliance with alerts and alarms, like the classic divert to dilute strategy, but that's to protect their wastewater system. Of course, that's important, but it's a little like shutting the stable door after the horse is bolted. The biggest gains come from when you take one step more and implement loss reduction programs. We've had success stories of loss reduction systems quoted to us of getting losses below 0.1%. The aim is not to just monitor an alarm, but actually reduce or prevent the loss in the first place. In the US, for example, already good results are being seen at plants for DFA and Hilmar cheese, who use our suspended solid sensor for loss reduction. We're also using them extensively in New Zealand and have been for a long time. So how does it work? Solid sensors are placed in drains and drain sampling manifolds to measure the concentration of the suspended solids. Combined with flow measurements, you can calculate actual suspended solids lost. The sensors transmit real-time data direct to the control room, and the alarms and notifications can be set for immediate identification for a loss event. Loss reduction processes use this data in a way that's kind of like a combination of first responders and detectives or investigators. The sensors will detect a significant event or spill very quickly, which allows rapid response to prevent a further out-of-control situation and losses becoming catastrophic. This gives you the immediate short-term gains. Loss reduction also allows a detective or investigative work collecting data to track and control your processes over time, looking at trends and patterns that allow you to give more efficient results. This gives you the long-term gains, process efficiencies that can literally add up to millions of dollars. For example, if you notice the spikes in the solids losses every time a particular process runs, you'd go and investigate the process control opportunities and the equipment running that process. This gives you an idea of a complete significant style installation, what it might look like. These images are of an installation that was part of a new facility in New Zealand and show waste flumes and associated bypass instrumentation manifold. Each significant area of the plant has its own measurement station. These sensors are NIR sensors, also called optical sensors. And if you're thinking, oh, we've tried those already and it wasn't great, well, let me explain how Quadbeam sensors are different. Just a quick note, I am covering this relatively lightly, so for more detail, please do talk to me after the session. So lots of people have used single beam sensors, but with mixed success. Quadbeam sensors are multi-beam, which means they create ratiometric algorithm to eliminate the kinds of measurement error that single beam sensors can't cope with. In simple terms, each sensor has 2 LED emitters and 2 light detectors. They're placed in a medium, like milk. Each LED fires near-infrared light at both detectors, which detect light intensity and therefore how much light is being blocked by the solids in that medium. Effectively, that tells you the concentration of the suspended solids. But sensors can get thrown off by contamination or the LEDs and components aging. Quadbeam sensors solve this problem by using multiple light paths to create ratios of light intensity and turning those ratios into an algorithm that self-compensates for any contamination or component aging. So unlike single beam sensors, they give you a constant, accurate reading. This accuracy is incredibly important for loss reduction, as data must be easy to understand and credible for operators, and also, of course, because you're going to be making investigative work and big process improvements, you need the data to be really, really good and reliable. Our sensors are really tough, made from one-piece polymer body with no glass lenses that could break or leak. They're simple to use and easily calibrated on-site by your operators, so they give you results that are directly relative to your site. Quadbeam sensors come in 2 main styles: inline hygienic with tri-clamp or Varilline connections for pipe fittings, and immersion style, go direct placement into flume sumps, tanks, etc. With both styles, there's a range of sensors for different applications, conditions, concentrations, and products. Here's another good example of a loss monitoring project. This was one that was done last year. It was right at the very beginning of the project. You can see the sensor in the sump, and you can also see just after a couple of days the data and how they're already highlighting events of interest. Just a small sensor change can give a big efficiency gain. Yes, protect your wastewater plants, but why not go that extra step and gain so much more? Look, there's plenty of other applications for Quadbeam sensors, and often they're highlighted by the loss reduction program itself. Applications include things like product water phase and interface control, solids recovery, CRP optimization, fat standardization, separator, wayfinds monitoring, filtration monitoring, cow water monitoring, heat exchange breakthrough, etc. Our overall aim is to help increase profits through decreased losses, decreased operator intervention, increased process control, increased production uptime. The whole loss reduction system can generate the kind of meaningful, immediate data on results that everyone can understand. So it can help create an entire culture of loss reduction and maximize gains. Now, the bottom line is you get more product in the packaging. And that's good for everybody. Thanks.